I am Father Mike Driscoll, a priest of the Diocese of Peoria, Illinois, presenting a series of videos on Catholic Demonology. Video 1. Demonology, the Study of Demons. Part 1. About this video series. My background in this topic, in addition to being a priest, is a PhD in counselor education and supervision. My dissertation was entitled, How Catholic Exorcists Distinguish Between Demonic Possession and Mental Disorders. Based on this research and on the teachings of the Catholic faith, I wrote a book called Demons, Deliverance, and Discernment, which is published by Catholic Answers. The videos in this series present Catholic Church teaching on demons. All Catholic Church teaching comes from what God has revealed to us. God the Son, Jesus Christ, established the Catholic Church to hand on his teachings. He established his church with the apostles as the first bishops, and Saint Peter in particular as the rock on which the church is built. He gave Peter the keys of the kingdom of heaven, which means that he ensures that Peter and his successors, the popes, faithfully hand on his teachings. We receive the teachings of Christ from the Bible, from the creeds, especially the Apostles' Creed and the Nicene Creed, from the catechisms, particularly the Catechism of the Council of Trent and the Catechism of the Catholic Church, and from the popes when they are teaching as the successors of Saint Peter on matters of the faith. The alternative to following the teachings of the Church that Jesus established is to set up one's own denomination. There are now thousands of different Christian denominations, all of which started after the 15th century, all based on the Bible alone, all having different interpretations of the Bible. Only the Catholic Church was established by Jesus Christ himself before the Bible was completed. Many saints have also helped to explain the teachings of Christ and how to live them. Saint Thomas Aquinas, nicknamed the Angelic Doctor, wrote explanations of the entire body of church teaching. In this video series on Catholic Demonology, we will often look to the writings of Saint Thomas Aquinas. We will occasionally mention the opinions of exorcists, but it is important to remember that these are strictly opinions, not church teachings. Based on their experiences, exorcists may tell us some things about the ways of demons, but they may also be mistaken. Part 2. What are demons? The Bible begins with the words, "In the beginning God created the heavens and the earth." It is believed that God created the spirit world, the angels, at the same time that he created the material world. God created all of the angels good. Immediately after their creation, some chose to obey God. These are the good angels. Some chose to disobey. These are the fallen angels. Because the angels are purely spiritual beings, and they had all the knowledge they needed to make this choice, their decision was, and is, permanent. The good angels will never sin, and the fallen angels will never be sorry for their sins. St. Thomas Aquinas explains that the first sin of the fallen angels was pride. In some way they refused to subject themselves to God, to whom obedience is due. Possibly they wanted to create things by their own power, or wanted their final happiness without God's help. Or maybe they wanted command over other angels or human beings in a way that is proper to God alone. St. Thomas adds that their sin of pride was followed by the sin of envy, which is unhappiness over the good of another. The fallen angels were unhappy with the good of human beings, and they also grieved over the power and perfections of God. The fallen angels are also called demons and devils. Their leader, the most powerful of the fallen angels, is sometimes called the devil. Jesus called him Satan, a Hebrew word for enemy or adversary. Jesus also called him Beelzebul, a Hebrew word meaning Lord of the Flies. The book of the prophet Isaiah refers to him as Lucifer, which means light, describing his condition before he rebelled. Quote, "How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, who didst rise in the morning? Thou said in thy heart, I will be like the Most High. But yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, into the depth of the pit." End quote. The book of Revelation describes the terrible battle that took place when Lucifer and his followers were driven from heaven. Now war arose in heaven, Michael and his angels fighting against the dragon, and the dragon and his angels fought, but they were defeated, and there was no longer any place for them in heaven. And the great dragon was thrown down, that ancient serpent who is called the devil and Satan, the deceiver of the whole world. He was thrown down to the earth, and his angels were thrown down with him. Part 3. Where are demons? Angels, both good and evil, are spiritual creatures, beings without a physical body. Therefore, they are not in a place in the same way as physical creatures, such as human beings. St. Thomas Aquinas explains that angels may be said to be in the place where they are exerting their power. This may be in one place at one moment, and another place far away at the next moment. That is why angels are often depicted in artwork as having wings, which symbolize rapid movement. Jesus told us that the guardian angels are protecting us, even while they are in heaven adoring God. See that you do not despise one of these little ones, for I tell you that in heaven their angels always behold the face of my Father who is in heaven. Similarly, the fallen angels, the demons, are in some sense in hell, but at the same time they are exerting their power here on earth. They try to corrupt us, lead us into sin, and desire eventually to torment us in hell. Part 4. Demon Power. What demons can and cannot do. Good angels and fallen angels do not have bodies and do not need bodies. They know things without studying or use of senses. They can move objects by the power of their minds, and they can exert their power in one place after another, moving instantaneously, without having to travel through the space in between. Because they can manipulate physical matter, devils can appear to perform miracles. For example, as a rebuttal to the miracles God worked through Moses, Pharaoh's sorcerers appeared to turn their staffs into snakes and water into blood. Human beings do not possess these abilities on their own, but this is the kind of deception the devil might perform through a witch or pagan shaman or other occult practitioner in order to draw people away from God. Another way in which the demons use their power is by manipulating physical matter to cause death and disease in human beings. God may have his good angels carry out his justice in such ways, as when the angel of death brought the plague in Egypt that killed the firstborn of each family, and when an angel destroyed an Assyrian army that was about to invade Jerusalem. Demons may use this same kind of power for evil. For example, the Gospels describe demons causing people to be deaf, blind, and mute, apparently by subtly afflicting the person's body. And in the book of Job, the devil is attributed with death and destruction by causing wind and fire, and by inciting marauding tribes to steal and murder. Angels, whether good or evil, can give us ideas, but they cannot read our minds. Only God can. As the prophet Jeremiah wrote, quote, "The heart is deceitful above all things, and desperately corrupt. Who can understand it? I, the Lord, search the mind and try the heart, to give to every man according to his ways, according to the fruit of his doings." End quote. The demons may seem to read minds, but that is a deception. They use their intellect and powers of observation to make accurate guesses by observing an individual's tone of voice, facial expressions, body language, and other habits. Similarly, angels cannot see the future, only God can, because only God is outside of time. But using their much greater powers of observation, demons can appear to be seeing the future. By combining this power with their ability to give ideas to human beings, demons can also make it appear that individuals have the ability to read minds and to see the future. The individuals themselves may be fooled also, not knowing that this power is actually coming from the devil. For example, because angels know my schedule and the schedule of a person I have never met, they may know the two of us are going to meet at a future event, even though the two of us do not know it. By making predictions like this, demons may use people like psychics and fortune tellers, and objects such as the Ouija board and tarot cards, to fool people into thinking that they have the power to see the future. This was the type of deception that was being performed by a slave girl in the Acts of the Apostles. Until St. Paul performed an exorcism, her masters were profiting from her demonic fortune-telling ability. In conclusion, demons, also called devils, are fallen angels. They were created good by God, but rebelled, committing sins of pride and envy. Demons may be in hell and on earth. They have knowledge God gave when He created them. Demons observe what we say and do. They never forget or make intellectual mistakes, but they cannot read minds or see the future.